Now, there's been a huge breakthrough for people who live with cystic fibrosis. The FDA has approved a first-of-its-kind therapy which treats the underlying cause of the rare and life-threatening disease. It's called Trikafta. It's a combination of 3 drugs that treat the most common types of cystic fibrosis. The FDA says clinical trials showed dramatic improvements for patients, including a 10 to 15% increase in lung function. A researcher at Johns Hopkins, who is known around the world for his work in trying to find a cure for cystic fibrosis, says Trikafta is a huge step forward.
We think that eventually over 90% of people with cystic fibrosis will benefit from this therapy and has potential to extend life by years and years.
This therapy has been approved for people ages 12 and older. Clinical trials are underway, though, for children ages 6 to 11. The data on its effectiveness and safety in children is expected next year. Now, the Maryland chapter of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation is one of 2 local charities that will benefit from a comedy show that is coming up in a few weeks. Angry on-stage rants by the comedian Lewis Black have made him a household name all over the country and the world, but he grew up in Maryland and will be back next month using that anger to do some good. For more than 20 years, he has tried, with varying levels of success, to contain himself in appearances on Comedy Central's The Daily Show.
There's a lot of things to hate about these scooter sharing programs. For starters, there's no dock. People just leave them lying around anywhere for the next person to find them. That's not sharing, that's littering.
In fact, the angry comedian Lewis Black was the voice of anger in the 2015 Pixar movie Inside Out.
Anger is all about getting the job done. Time to take action. So don't get in his way, move, otherwise he might explode.
But just below that smoldering surface resides a soft heart. Next month, Lewis Black has a show at the Lyric in Baltimore for which his pay will be exactly $0.
Very charitable. People are shocked when they hear that he's taking nothing to do this event. I've known Lewis for 10 years, and it doesn't shock me. It's very much what he does.
Mac Tisdale is the chairman of the Maryland chapter of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. The disease is deadly, with the body producing thick mucus that clogs the lungs, forcing children and adults who have it to clear their lungs, often for several hours every day. Years ago, most children with it did not make it to adulthood. Through research into new therapies and new drugs, the lifespan has increased dramatically.
I have a brother that fights this who's 44, and when he was born, the life expectancy with somebody born with CF was age 13. It's now 46 and counting rapidly.
Proceeds from Lewis Black's show will benefit that research through the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation and also Pathfinders for Autism, the local charity founded by former Oriole B.J. Surhoff.
My team is the Washington team. My team is a team that should be thrown out of football, okay?
Lewis Black's shtick, just as angry as ever, but that anger focused on helping families and finding a cure.
It's a typical event, and Lewis Black comes to town quite often. It's another appearance in town, and it just so happens that the proceeds of what you're spending to attend the event goes to a great cause.
Okay, that show's coming up soon, November the 12th. It's at the Lyric. Tickets are on sale right now. You can just buy them through Ticketmaster or one of the 2 charities. And once again, Lewis Black is not taking a payment for that show. The money goes to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation and to Pathfinders for Autism. One of that organization's longtime supporters happens to be our former colleague here at Maryland's first television station, Mary Beth Marsden, who's been very open about raising a daughter on the autism spectrum. It's been nearly 10 years since Mary Beth said goodbye to the viewers here. We're going to check in on how Mary Beth is doing, her thoughts on Pathfinder for Autism, and Lewis Black's show. That's stories coming up next week here on WMAR 2 News. Good morning, Maryland. You want to stick around for that. Right now, I'm going to send it over to Chief Meteorologist Annette Charles for your forecast.